This is a geopolitical and World War III update from SGT Report. If you have a sick feeling in the pit of your stomach, we're going to address why right now. I was listening to Mike Adams' latest Health Ranger report today, and he provided a nice recap of Donald Trump's latest flip-flops, which include Trump is now saying that China is not a currency manipulator, even though when running for president, he consistently pointed to China as a currency manipulator that needed to be punished.
If you look at the way China and India and almost everybody takes advantage of the United States, China in particular, because they're so good. It's the #1 abuser of this country. And if you look at the way they take advantage, it's through currency manipulation.
Number two, now Trump is saying that NATO is very relevant, despite saying otherwise when he was running for president. Number three, Trump was an anti-war candidate who clearly and consistently warned that getting involved in Syria was a dire mistake, and that instead the U.S. should be partnering with Russia to defeat ISIS there. Now Trump is bombing Syria. There's rumors that U.S. ground troops may soon be there as well, and he's sending warships to the Korean Peninsula, all of which has Russia and China turning to a war footing of their own.
Trump is he's getting in with the military-industrial complex, is what it looks like. Maybe he's got a long-term plan. Maybe he's going to surprise us all in some way. But it's looking like, it looks like the swamp is swallowing Trump right now. That's what it looks like.
At this point in the conversation, it may be time to offer my friends Chris Duane, Jeff Berwick, and Richard Sauder their fair dues. All three of them predicted that this is exactly what we would get with a Trump presidency, along with many other readers and viewers of this channel. But as I said all along, we were merely reporting on the many good things Trump was saying and promising to do.
We will vote to put this corrupt government cartel out of business and out of business immediately.
However, many of us have that sick feeling in the pits of our stomach. You know the one. Like when you found out your high school or college sweetheart was cheating on you with the military-industrial complex. This current atmosphere is an unsettling one. In fact, it's deeply disturbing. No one who voted for Trump wanted more war, much less the increasing sound of drums banging for World War III. So, what do the majority of Americans really think about all of this? It depends on who you ask. Trump's approval rating, according to the mainstream corporate media, has climbed from historical lows to 50% since he, quote, embraced his inner bomb, according to Quartz. And CNN is calling Trump's newfound neocon bent presidential, with CNN contributors specifically referring to Trump's order to drop 59 Tomahawk missiles on Syria as the moment he became presidential.
Fareed, it's day 78 of the Trump presidency. What changed last night?
I think Donald Trump became president of the United States. I think this was actually a big moment because candidate Trump had said that he would never get involved in the Syrian civil war. He told President Obama, you cannot do this without the authorization of Congress.
And CNN's praise of Trump really tells us everything we need to know. I mentioned my friend Richard Sauder, whose website, Event Horizon Chronicle, is a must-visit. Richard submitted an article to me on Sunday night, and it's titled, What Comes Next? Richard writes, in a word, change. Very big change. All that remains to be determined is the nature of the change and its precise timeline. Of course, the threat of major warfare, possibly even nuclear warfare, looms large these days, not least on and around the Korean Peninsula. The United States and its allies are now building up a very large military force and brooding their plans to imminently resolve the North Korean problem via military means, while the USSA has willy-nilly been destabilizing, invading, and destroying one nation after another for the better part of 2 centuries now, directly or in league with proxies and mercenaries, beginning with the Native American peoples of North America and then continuing on to menace the entire planet. The Philippines, Haiti, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Mexico, El Salvador, Chile, Vietnam, Cambodia, Iraq, Laos, Korea, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, the Ukraine, what used to be Yugoslavia, and Yemen. It never ends. And now the USSA is on the verge of launching another major war in East Asia. So, which country in reality most jeopardizes international law and order? Sauder writes, clearly it is the USSA, which is by far the greater danger. rampaging around the world for well more than a century now, killing, wounding, and impoverishing countless millions as it imposes, quote, peace and democracy at gunpoint and repeated carpet bombings. Like everything, there is the reality of the situation and the meta-reality of the situation. Context is everything. As you look around the world, you can see a discernible crescendo in current events. The USSA is obviously on the warpath in recent days and weeks, and on a global scale, with first a cruise missile barrage unleashed against Syria, and then the massive Moab thermobomb dropped in eastern Afghanistan against an ostensible underground Taliban tunnel complex, followed within a short period of time a very public test dropping in Nevada of the military's B-61 nuclear bomb, all of which has transpired against a backdrop of a very public buildup of military force on Russia's western borders and in the region of the Korean Peninsula and the western Pacific Ocean. So why now? Sauder goes on to ask some very important questions. The first is, when does the biosphere collapse to a point such that human life on this planet is no longer viable? When does the radioactive poisoning of the Pacific Ocean and beyond by the failed nuclear reactors at Fukushima, Japan, become an immediate public concern that can no longer be contained by official propaganda? Number 3, when and how does the petrodollar lose a sufficient percentage of global market share that the USA's economic and military dominance of the global order is no longer possible? Number 4, how soon will the myriad gigatons of frozen methane in the permafrost and ocean floors of the Earth's polar regions sublimate and bubble up into the atmosphere, causing runaway changes in atmospheric chemistry and meteorology such that human life is no longer viable? Number 5, how and how soon does the global interconnectivity of the Internet result in international knowledge networks that seriously threaten the power monopoly of the powers that be? Number 6, how soon and exactly how does the debt-based international economic order fail? Number 7, as more states acquire nuclear weapons, how soon and how likely is the U.S. military to face a confluence of factors that threaten it with sudden military defeat? Number 8, how soon does robotization and the growing use of AI make live human beings superfluous in the global economy? Meaning, what is the year in this century when biological humans become obsolete and the machines take over? Number 9, when and how does the burgeoning use of nanotechnology overwhelm the human race and the rest of the biosphere on this planet? Now, Sauder goes on to provide examples of the things we need to do immediately to save humanity and Earth, not the least of which is a massive global rollout of free energy technology which the compartmentalized black world has and uses, a global repudiation of nanotechnology and AI. We need to get rid of central banking, abolish the Federal Reserve Bank and the IRS, and replace them with an interest-free monetary system. We need to establish truth commissions for the 9/11 attacks, the JFK, RFK, and MLK assassinations, and other similar false flag events. Criminally try and imprison the perpetrators of those crimes. And that's just a bare minimum of the to-do list if humanity is to have any meaningful future on this planet. You can read the rest of the article for yourself. It's titled, What Comes Next? At Event Horizon Chronicle, and we featured the article at SGT Report. By the way, author Richard Sauder could use your help. If you're inclined to pitch in and send him a Bitcoin, I'll include his Bitcoin address in the More Info section below this video. My friends, it's clear that humanity has reached an apex, where peace collides with World War III, where sanity collides with insanity, where truth collides with lies, where literally, as Orwell said, war is peace.
This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system, and our system is rigged.
I want to thank each and every one of you who have stepped up to support me on Patreon in lieu of Google's fascist attack against the truth media. You're making a huge difference for me and for my team at SGT Report, and you are truly the less than 1%. Thank you so much. And for real news 24/7, visit us at sgtreport.com. God bless.
The swamp is literally winning right now. The only thing the Republicans and Democrats, unfortunately, can really agree on at this point is, foreign policy intervention, promoting the American empire with war and bombs and things like that.